Skinny T went live after the game. Solo Dolo did well. First time Solo Dolo. Proud of you. Did great. I was able to tune in from where I was for a little bit. I'm hopefully going to be with you this week after the game. But happy to be back with you, my friend, today. Rams with a 14-9 victory, starting 1-0 over the Texans. We're not going to do like a full recap. Skinny handled all that, but we're going to do kind of winners and losers today, talking through kind of standouts and concerns, I guess. Not really, it's week one. There's going to be some losers, if you will. So we'll talk through that all. But Skinny, how you doing? Thanks for holding down the fort on a busy Sunday.
Yeah, it was, just jumped right back into football shape, Yeah. Talk about getting into football shape. We got to do it too. I jumped right in after the show. I did okay.
Yeah. I mean, not as drastic, but kind of like Larry Jackson, right? Wasn't able to really practice and then just, game ready.
Exactly. I guess so. Now I feel great. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm in. It's fall, a little crisp in the air. It's football season. We're back.
I guess we're still 80s today, but we're going to hit 70s this week. Like that. Yeah. That's fall for LA. If you hit the 70s, that's a fall LA day, which I have been talking about for weeks that I just miss true fall weather. A nice bowl of chili, a nice chill in the air, a nice sweater on and watching football. Love everything about LA, but a 90-degree day in the fall, it's not the same, but
And our first call-in show is going to be live from the Skinny Tea Dojo / deck in the backyard. So
that's right.
Perfect temp.
So everyone, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we're going live every week. We're going to start having some guests on. We want to start taking calls. I mean, by calls, we don't have a phone line yet. Eventually, maybe we'll set that up. But you can just jump on here with us on StreamYard. We'll drop the link. You can jump on. It doesn't have to be video, just be audio, your voice. But yeah, this week, be live from the beautiful confines of the Skinny Tea Dojo in a beautiful 75-degree day. It's going to be fantastic, previewing the Rams' next game against the Tennessee Titans. But today, we're talking a little bit more Texans before we move on. Some winners and losers. Quickly, before we get into that, got to talk about our new friends over at Sleeper. Skinny, I know you know them well now. I'm sure a lot of our listeners know them well now. But if you haven't heard, here's a little secret. It's more than just a platform for season-long fantasy leagues. I know a lot of people use it for fantasy leagues. I'm in 3 leagues through the Sleeper app. But this year, millions of users enjoy playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but the app offers so much more. They have live stats, so real-time updates and visualizations on all stats. So on your NFL Sundays, you get updates throughout the games. The news feed, get lightning-fast updates on your favorite players and teams. Injuries come through quick. There's a real-time chat, so you can engage with other users about individual plays and performances during the NFL and NBA and NHL and MLB seasons, all that. Plus, they've got the daily, I think we call it like daily fantasy fun, basically a pick 'em. You choose a number of players. I think it's 2 to 8 players and just choose more or less on their stat lines. Unfortunately, Skinny, you led me astray for my picks last week. Did not win. I can't remember what they all were. But I did have a couple wins over the weekend. Started hot for this first week of NFL. I think I did a Thursday night one that I won on. I had the Friday night Chargers game I won on because I had, get this, I think I sent you the screenshot on this, but I did like a 6-player more or less pick 'em. 2 of the ones I had were, one was Will Dissly, the Chargers tight end, to have more than 17.5 yards receiving. Easy, right? Starting tight end. Dude did not have a catch throughout the game. The last drive, when the Chargers just needed a first down to ice the clock, 1 catch, 18 yards, boom. That hits. The other one was Amari and Hampton, needed over 44.5 yards. Going into the last drive, he had 44 yards. He gets 1 carry for 1 yard to get him to 45 yards. Boom. Hit. So it's that easy, guys. Choose more or less, win some real money, have some fun, and make sure when you go to download Sleeper, use the promo code RAMS, LAFB. You can see it. My hand can't reach all the way over there. But Rams LAFB, you're going to get a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $25, get 25 free bucks. You put in $100, $100 free dollars to play with. So download the Sleeper app, promo code RAMS LAFB. Start having some fun today. All right, Skinny. So 14-9. Again, not huge recap, if you will, but real quickly, what was your thoughts on this overall performance? I mean, obviously defensively looked pretty good. Offensively, not great, but credit to Houston. They got a great defense with D'Amico Ryans there. So what were just your overall thoughts on offense, defense? Then we'll get into winners and losers.
Yeah, heading into this, I thought defensive slugfest, and that's really kind of what it came down to. Who was going to win those battles in the trenches? Who is going to be able to outperform, defensively? And, the Rams really relied on Nate Landman with that game saver. Kobe Durant coming up with a huge interception, just insane body control, concentration on the ball. Really impressive there. That's what saved the game. That's what won the Rams the game. They didn't score any points, but they didn't need a lot of points. The Rams defense held this team to 9 points, and really impressive. And the defense got better as the game went along as well, which was really impressive.
Yeah. I think for me, from the top lens, defensively, this is exciting, right? Like, I wouldn't call Houston like the number one off, or not. I wouldn't even call them probably a top 5 offense. Obviously, they have a new offensive coordinator, formerly of the Rams. So they're kind of learning a new system there, but they have a lot of talented pieces. CJ Stroud, regressed a bit last year, but I think he's still a very good quarterback, going to be a good quarterback, have a long career. Obviously have some great receivers in one, Nico Collins. I know their main running back is injured, but Nick Chubb, no slouch, has been a great running back in this league and a really solid backup. So I think seeing what the defense did is exciting. And, we'll see how that holds up when they play better offenses, but I don't have any real qualms with the defense. I think there's improvement there. And it's still wild to me, Skinny, that even going into last season, it's like, okay, you lose Aaron Donald. You don't have any standouts at the back end, as I talked about just last week. This defense, just be a middle tier unit, and this should be a good team because the offense should be really good. Last year, the defense was better than the offense. And so far, through 1 week, the defense is better than the offense. Now, the offense played against a really good defense in Houston. And I think D'Amico Ryans obviously was one of the great defensive minds that now is a head coach. So some of that, you just got to credit them, that it's just going to be a defensive slugfest when you play a defense like that. But we'll see how this offense improves. Like, I'm not sitting here saying I have concerns of the offense, but it wasn't a good offensive game. Yeah. But sometimes if you can win greasy games like that, that says more about your culture and who you are as a team. And if you have long-term success, obviously, as long as you improve offensively down the line. So overall, great win, moved to 1-0. Houston, like we talked about on our preview show, I think is one of those sleeper teams that's going to be a playoff team. They've been a playoff team the last 2 years, won a playoff game each of those years. So this isn't some like bum team they played. So great win, get it at home, great crowd at SoFi. It was awesome to see. So let's jump into some winners and losers. I'll toss to you first. You can, whatever, defense, offense. Give me a winner for yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, is it too obvious to say that Matthew Stafford is the winner from this game? All offseason, going back and forth about this back issue. He comes out and I wouldn't say put on a clinic, but when he looked good, he looked good. He was under pressure 40% of the time, 40% of his dropbacks. So, especially crediting him because the running game couldn't find its footing either. Mm-hmm. And let's just take a step back here. You'll hear a lot of the national pundits say that week 1 is kind of an extension of the preseason. Still a lot of question marks, a lot of things to get figured out. Even more so when you're talking about these Los Angeles Rams. Am I right? No starters in preseason. Alaric Jackson hardly practiced. Matthew Stafford hardly practiced. The injuries that happened during the game. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of new offense too. And we'll talk about I'm going to mention another winner here concerning the offense, but a lot of 12 personnel was running this game. A lot of rotation in the tight end room, in the wide receiver room. So, all hats off to Matthew Stafford for stitching together a few good drives, putting up 2 touchdowns to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. First game of the season, and this team has started slow the last 2 years. Obviously lost last year to Detroit. I believe they lost the opener the year before that. Correct me if I'm wrong or if you remember, but certainly last year. So it was great to get a season opening win in the fashion they did. And Stafford, efficient, 21 of 29, 245 yards and a touchdown. So, you love to see that from a guy that didn't practice a ton and whatnot. That it'll be interesting to see the progression of the offense with him and his weapons. Obviously, Puka Nacua, how much did he miss? He missed what? Did he miss a full quarter? I know he wasn't out for super long.
Not even that. Half of a quarter, I guess I would say.
Of course. So missed maybe a drive or two. I'm trying to think back when watching the game, but missed some time and head was bleeding and still far and away Stafford's number one target, 10 receptions, 131 yards, touchdown, or not a touchdown, but 30 yards. So Puka Nacua, tremendous. Love that. Davante Adams, 4 receptions, 51 yards. So he's number 2. And then only 6 other receptions or so spread out through the rest of the unit. So kind of a lot what we've been saying. He keys in on one guy, and that's going to be the workhorse for the offense. So no change there. It worked. So I'm not sitting here saying that's a bad thing, but these are just things to watch. Like if a defense is able to shut down one Puka Nacua, which hopefully they won't. I mean, he looked dominant, but who's going to be that next? Obviously, Davante was next with 4, but everyone else, 1 catch. Colby Parkinson, I think, had 2, but he had like 4 total yards on those 2 catches or something. So it's interesting. It's, this offense, what McVay has been known for in being so dynamic and so genius as a play caller last year and now 1 game into this year is extremely predictable. Like we kind of know what's going to happen. There's going to be one target, and it's going to be the Matthew Stafford and that target show. So I don't want it all to sound negative. It's just an observation, but yeah, big win for Matthew Stafford for sure. One of the winners, and, get that pun intended monkey off his back to be able to say, hey, I'm good. I can play. I'll start loser. Maybe I'll sound negative, but I'll start with a loser here. And as I kind of expected, I'll go with the Rams running back rotation because couldn't get the running game going. Obviously, it was, tough sledding. Not that I don't think Kyren Williams had a terrible game. 18 carries, 66 yards, had the touchdown, 3.7 yard average. Obviously, is not the best, but hey, that's not terrible. You do that you're going to get a first down every 3 carries. But other than that, you had Jordan Whittington with the 1 end around, Puka Nacua with an end around, and Blake Corum with 1 carry for 2 yards. Obviously, Jarquez Hunter was a healthy scratch, which was a head scratcher to me. They opted for Cody Schrader as a special teamer, who this is a whole nother story, but then he goes back to the practice squad and gets snatched up by Jacksonville today. So they opt to play him on Sunday, but don't opt to protect him after playing him. And then now he is gone as Jacksonville has snatched him up off the practice squad. So again, I don't want to divulge down a road of negativity. This is a great win. This team looks good, but there's still some head scratchers here. And the running back rotation is certainly one of those. When all camp long, Blake Corum looks great. Yep, we love him. We love this room. It's going to be one of the most dynamic rooms. You scratch Hunter, you give Corum the ball 1 time. So loser for me is this running back rotation that, until proven otherwise, is just non-existent. It's the Kyren Williams show.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we've wanted to see change, and we expected to see change. We expected change of pace with Jarquez Hunter. We expected much more from Blake Corum, 10 total snaps in this game. 3 of which were pass blocking opportunities, which he didn't allow pressure. So gold star for Blake Corum in that. But Kyren Williams, 8 snaps in pass blocking, 4 in run blocking. So those are just snaps that you're not using him as a pass catcher or running the ball. And then, played a ton, 49 snaps overall. And, comparing it to last year and just his workload, he was a top running back. He played more snaps than any other running back in the league. He's already leading with rushing snaps this year, 23. He, Christian McCaffrey, and Breece Hall, all with 23 snaps on rushing alone. Add in the rest of them. A lot of usage. And, I worry about this with Puka Nacua as well. Usage for offensive weapons means hits. Hits mean pain and suffering, and that can sometimes lead to injuries. And we know what this team is without Puka Nacua. It's not as good. We don't quite know exactly what this team is without Kyren Williams, but they're better with Kyren Williams. So you got to change it. I guess I'll go with my first loser. And this is gonna sound harsh. This is gonna sound harsh. I'm gonna go with Jared Verse. What? How could Jared Verse be a loser in this game?
How? Tell us.
He didn't get a sack today. Now everybody's gonna tell me, oh, he's getting triple teamed. What superhuman thing do you expect from this? Micah Parsons was in the game for 30 snaps in his game. He came up with a sack. Jared Verse played a lot more. Now, the only reason I'm calling him a loser is because I have such a high expectation. I have Defensive Player of the Year expectations. That means, 15 to 20 sacks, somewhere in that region. That means you got to get one just about every game.
Mm-hmm.
And this was an offensive line that he should have eaten up. Now, did he create gravitational pull and force? Yes. But you want to know what made Aaron Donald the GOAT? Is when the game was on the line, when the game was the biggest, he stepped up and he came up with those big games, big game sacks and game-changing plays. Go to the Super Bowl. Check that out. Verse got better in this game. He was having that same problem where he was kind of letting the edge go. Got better as the game went along with that. Marry the two things. Get the pressures. Get home on those sacks. Three pressures for he and Micah Parsons. Snap counts are a little bit different there. I just have a high expectation. I have a high expectation for this team, and I have a even higher expectation for Jared Verse. He made a lot of stink last year, and we have high expectations for him. And I'm not going to back down from that. I got to see it. I want to see it. The team needs it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Doing winners and losers always sounds harsh because you call someone a loser, not you, but just in general. And it's like, oh man, this is someone who played horrible, but more maybe just like a non-dominant winner is an easier term to put it.
Don't soften this.
But no, I hear your point. Absolutely. Cause I agree. I said, I think this guy breaks his sacks in, first half of the season. I think he'll clear the 4.5 sacks he had last year easily, and he can still certainly do that. He did finish with the second highest grade on defense, 90.6 PFF grade. 4 total pressures, as you alluded to, and was a wrecking ball in terms of bringing a lot of the blocking to him to allow guys like Byron Young and others to eat, which is something that obviously Aaron Donald was so instrumental in, but Aaron Donald still got home in some of those situations. And it's not a fair comparison, right? Like, we have high expectations for Jared Verse, but even breathing in the same, like, well, Aaron Donald did this, like, we're already starting off a little unfair there. So, I think we got to cut him a little slack in terms of doing that. But I do agree with you that you see some of the stuff he does on tape. Like, there was on Byron Young's sack, they both did like a bull rush pass rush move and just both overpowered their man, and Byron Young ended up getting a sack, but Jared Verse had his guy in the backfield. And you see that, and if you see it with that much consistency, it's like, dude, this guy can be so good, and he is so good. It just needs to start resonating in the sack department. Because as good as you are with pressures and bringing people over to block you more, like, that's great, but that only decides so much. Like, we can't sit here and say, well, Reggie White's in the Hall of Fame because, man, he demanded a lot of offensive linemen. Like, he had a lot of pressures. So Reggie White's a Hall of Famer. No, Reggie White's a Hall of Famer because he's one of the best pass rush sack artists ever to play the game. You look at all these down the line of these tremendous pass rushers, that's what you get to now. Jared Verse has played, 18 total NFL games. So I think we'll see improvement. But that's what we said last year. How do you go from a high motor, high passion, high pressure guy to a high sack guy? And so far through one game, it was much of the same as last year. So I think that's where your point is. Obviously, he's the heartbeat kind of as this defense. So we'll see how that translates onto that. I will go winner now. And I'll stick with defense. And let's give, our guy, Jake Ellenbogen, loves him. He's been on the bandwagon for a long time. Maybe too much sometimes, but hey, we'll give him his flowers. But Ahkello Witherspoon has turned into a pretty solid cornerback for the Rams. What's funny is they still won't extend him. And even last year, it took a long time for them to re-sign him to a 1-year deal. But statistically, I mean, he's proven that he is not just a good cornerback for the Rams, but actually one of the best cornerbacks in football. When you look at some of his past games, and I won't go through all of them, but just on Sunday, he was primarily, not every single snap, but primarily guarding Nico Collins, the Houston Texans' #1 receiver. Nico Collins finished with 1 reception for 4 yards. Ahkello Witherspoon was primarily on A.J. Brown in the playoff game, 1 reception, 5 yards. When he covered Devontae Smith, also of the Eagles, 1 reception, 7 yards. Justin Jefferson, 1 reception, 1 yard. Jordan Addison, 1 reception, 7 yards. DK Metcalf, 2 receptions, 31 yards, did get a touchdown. So you can go down this list more. We have it up on LAFB. Like I said, Jake Ellenbogen tweeted something out about it first, so give him his hat tip and his flowers. But Witherspoon's playing, I think, really well, Skinny. And I guess my question for you is it surprising that the Rams haven't rewarded him for this yet? I mean, this dates back to last year, and obviously now we're just in one game. But the dude's playing. I mean, he's playing like a true CB1. I mean, that's a fact, right? We can't deny that.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're keeping an eye on the age divided by injury risk there before they're going to commit to him long term. But they got big questions long term at cornerback. And, the question philosophically is, what do they think of cornerbacks? Is it turning into a new linebacker situation where they're just not going to, seek out a lockdown corner? And there's some, thought process to that that makes a lot of sense. Albert Breer wrote an interesting piece about it earlier this year in terms of roadblocks versus speed bumps, where the rules in this league are overwhelmingly, pointed towards offense and wide receivers. So having just kind of a speed bump, a guy that can kind of get in the way and be consistent is really what you need, rather than a shutdown corner like a Sauce Gardner. Now you look at a guy like Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley in this game in particular, they've had up years and down years because there's just a lot of high variance things that happen for cornerbacks. Mm-hmm. So do you trust in a guy that is, maybe a ball hawk like a Cam Kinchins or Kobe Durant looking like a ball hawk too, creating those high leverage turnovers and live in that world. Speaking of strategy though, weird one coming into this one. Darius Williams, a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you mentioned that already, but Emmanuel Forbes playing a good amount and Kobe Durant playing a good amount. Interesting, philosophy changes for this team. So, good for these guys that got in. Apparently it's going to be like kind of a week to week rotation, which is so far outside of I think of when I think of McVay, specifically. But perhaps this is Chris Shula putting his stamp on this defense, which is an interesting wrinkle.
Yeah. So Darius Williams, healthy scratch. Not to do one of these, but last week when we did our hype train, I said, like, I'm not buying the hype on Darius Williams because we haven't heard his name at all through camp. Like, it seems like, I can't remember my exact phrase, but I was like, it seems like he's getting like fizzled out almost, and we won't see much. And healthy scratch, didn't play at all. You mentioned it, obviously they're going to this kind of week to week approach, but I mean, is he now a trade candidate, like a veteran guy that they could potentially get, whether it be a draft pick or maybe another position of need trade? Because I mean, he has variance out there. He has veteran reputation and, good film. He obviously was a starter for them last year. So it's just so interesting that he goes from starter last year to healthy scratch week 1. And when you're a player in this league, I have a ton of respect for all these players, and I'm sure he handled it professionally. But when you're a guy that can play somewhere, and not only you're not going to get starting reps, you're not going to get any reps, you're just going to be a healthy scratch. Like, you probably want out. Like, is this now a trade candidate situation?
I mean, you got to think so. He's 32 years old. One more year on his deal after this.
I believe so, yeah.
So, time's up really well. And what it makes me think of is the Tre'Davious White situation from last year, where all through camp, it was like, he's our guy. Can't remember, did he get injured? And then can't remember exactly, but he was a scratch early in the season as well. And it's so hard to tell with McVay, with these guys, because he always comes out so positive, and then all of a sudden the guy is off the team.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would not be surprised at all, because having him not playing and just being on the sidelines, that's one thing, but just not being available in the game for the 48 at all.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very strange, especially in this, talk about a guy that got a lot of hype. Emmanuel Forbes got a lot of hype, played admirably in this game. This wasn't the greatest test, I wouldn't say, for these cornerbacks, but I digress. It's going to be it's a weird situation that it's just going to play out. And I wouldn't be surprised either way. If he's playing next week or he's off the team in a few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's telling when you look at their CB depth and, only having
no drafted guys, no UDFAs.
Yeah. And then who they kept, like, he couldn't even crack I think he was technically dressed because he wasn't on the inactives list, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm the one that said healthy scratch. But I think he was actually dressed. He just was essentially a healthy scratch because he got 0 reps. But I don't remember him being on the inactive list. So bizarre. I mean, obviously they went with a light rotation. Quentin Lake, we know, is kind of that star slot guy that plays there a lot. And they basically just did Jacoby Durant, Manuel Forbes, and Kella Witherspoon, I believe, were the only 3 corners that played the entire game. So it could have just been they felt good with those 3 as the hot hand and didn't have a need. And he was there. So I don't know. It's just an interesting situation when a guy is kind of demon. And on the positive side, this is what I love about these Sean McVay teams is, they don't care about salary or how long you've been with the team. And sometimes it's a little almost ruthless because you said it, the way they talk about guys, there's like so much love and affinity and affection, but the way they actually do business, the Rams are like the most ruthless team in the NFL, like almost far and away. Yeah, I think players love them as an organization. And so I'm not saying any of that, but they will, at the drop of a hat, make changes like after everything they've said in the media. We've seen it obviously with Gurley, with Goff, with Robert Woods, you can just go down the list of different players where they're like, yeah, we love this guy. There's everything. And then boom, next week they're gone.
Cooper Kupp.
Darius Williams might be the next one. It looks like.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Is it? Yeah, it's on you. Winner or loser? Go for it.
I'll go back to winners. And I'm just gonna tie it. I'm gonna do both ways on this one, winner and a loser in the same breath. I'm gonna say winner Jordan Whittington, loser Tutu Atwell. He got a catch. I'll say that.
One catch, 4 yards.
But I mean, $10 million. I said heading into the season, I want to see, what is he in this offense? Even if it's a gravitational thing, even if it's not in there for a ton of snaps either. I couldn't really ascertain if he was really stretching the defense in a certain way. Man. On the opposite side, winner, Jordan Whittington. 2 big plays called back. But this guy's got it all. Mm-hmm. Special teams. He's a threat in the offense. Hard-nosed, tough player. Man, can't wait to see more from that guy. I can't really say more because, those 2 big plays were called back. But, great day on paper. I mean, or not on paper, on film, I guess.
Yeah.
He started garnering some national attention. It's kind of a sleeper for this offense. So, I don't have anything else to say, but I was curious what the rotation was going to look like. And I mean, he kind of wins that first battle if you're thinking of it between playing time between Tutu and Jordan Whittington.
Yeah. 30 snaps for Whittington. I think 25 for Tutu. What's hard with, and this kind of goes back to my original offensive point with Matthew Stafford, is like, and this goes even back to when they first decided to extend Tutu with the 1-year, $10 million deal. Based on the way this offense is and has been, like, there's just not going to be a wide receiver 3. I mean, it's going to be Puka Nacua. We'll see how Davante Adams kind of evolves within the offense as he's, in it more. And then you're going to get some tight end play. I think that's a good thing. We saw a healthy dose of snaps from all 3 tight ends. No Terrence Ferguson, but obviously a lot of 12 personnel is part of that. But we saw, Higbee, Parkinson, and Allen maybe not extremely involved in the passing game, but out there for a lot of snaps, distributed pretty evenly. But there's just not a wide receiver 3 option. I mean, when you're a team that your wide receiver 3, 4, and 5 has a combined 3 catches between the 3 of them.
Yeah.
Again, it's 1 week. And so I'm not trying to say this as a negative, but it just goes into like the contract for Tutu still makes no sense. Like at this point, Skinny, like I would love for them to somehow have him have a blow up game so he can be a trade candidate. That's where we're at. And it's nothing against Tutu anymore. Like that there's been a lot of talk of like, man, he can't break through or what's going on. I think more is just, they're just not going to use him.
Yeah.
So like maybe use him 1 week so you can be like, hey, a wide receiver needy team. We got a guy that we used once. We're never going to use again. We'll take some draft capital. Like, let's make it happen.
That's probably the best. That's probably the best. I mean, if you look at the wide receiver room in terms of next season, I believe that the Davante Adams contract, the way it is structured right now, huge cap hit next year. Yeah. This is like a 1-year kind of rental / he can rehabilitate his image in the league. So, they need Whittington to kind of move into a larger role so that he's still on his rookie contract. Tutu Atwell is on a 1-year $10 million contract. So, I mean, trade him now. Get something back. So I'm on board.
Yeah, or just having especially in this offense, having a wide receiver 3 doesn't necessarily mean that guy has to have 4 or 5 catches every game. It's just there's only one football, right? Like I don't think it's a bad thing that Puka Nacua is the workhorse as the receiver. Like he's that good, great. Like feed him the ball. Davante Adams can be the second horse that gets fed the second most. Like that's great. You don't need to have like wide receiver 1 with 6 catches, wide receiver 2 with 5 catches, wide receiver 3 with 4 catches. Like I don't think that, but at least have them involved enough, whether it's through decoy, whether it's through, like you said, spreading the defense out to open things up. And there was some of that, I'm sure, in some play calls. But it's just from this 1 week, it was still not to the point of like, okay, this guy is a valuable asset in doing that. So we'll see if that changes, and we'll see if he gets more involved. But yeah, it's still just like an interesting offensive output from a position that's costing quite a bit of money.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You got a winner or loser?
I'll go I mean, I guess loser again sounds harsh, but I'll go offensive line, and more so because the injuries. Like, we'll bring those up, right? Like, both Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson, so both guards go down. They are, I believe, week to week. Both have a chance to play this week. Both have a chance to be out. So McVay, learning from the summer to be very coy with injury designations, I think he's now just going to be like, yeah, well, week to week. We'll just call everyone week to week so I don't get asked about it, and we'll just let you know game day if they're playing or not. So I thought the unit overall played admirably. I think is like why I deem it a loser. Is just, here we are again, week one, already injury question marks on the offensive line. Already, not even through week one, they got injured during the game and had to miss time. So obviously, hope it's not as serious, and they're able to come back fairly quickly. This Tennessee team, which we'll talk about later in the week, I mean, is no joke. It's a good defense. The team itself, the Rams should be fine winning. They got a rookie quarterback. Last week, if anyone saw the game, the Denver Broncos defense, which is for real, like, was dominant against Tennessee's offense. But the Tennessee defense is another legit underrated unit. Jeffrey Simmons, I mean, they've got a good defensive line. So it's not like the Rams get like a break going against a softer defense. Like, they're going up against another tough, lunch pail, hardworking defense. And so this offensive line, I mean, what do you think we'll see Dedich and Limmer as the two guards, or what do you think we'll see in the two guard spots if Avila and Dotson are unable to go, which, maybe they will be able to go?
Yeah, I mean, the designation for Avila is kind of weird because he was back in there. He was playing on an injured ankle, I guess. Maybe they taped it up real good, shot him up full of some horse tranquilizer or whatever. But he was back in there. You could flip this to winner and say Dedich is your winner because he played another heck of a good game, filling in one of the higher run blocking grades on the team per PFF. Not many pressures, if any, maybe one or two. But yeah, I mean, I think Avila will play. Dotson's my big question mark, though, and he's starting to become one of those injury-prone guys. He suffered kind of a chest contusion or something in one of the joint practices, and now he's got an ankle injury. These things kind of, he's got his wrists are incredibly reinforced with tape and whatnot during the games. And, so yeah, it's the last thing you want to see. It rings of 2022, rings of 2024, and Stafford getting more pressure, it's just all bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
If this year hinges on the offensive line, I started saying that this offseason. It's still true. I mean, this offense has to be better than it was in week one.
Yeah.
They're not going to get 2 turnovers every game at critical times. So
yeah, it's tough to win games with 14 points, but they got it done. And so that's great to see. Let's hit with this. And this will be obviously the big winner, the final turnover that is, I mean, that sequence belongs in a museum. The beautiful peanut punch by Nate Landman, the unbelievable recovery that was able, I mean, just the way he swallowed that up, like the Hungry Hippos game, going after a marble, was just unbelievable. Landman, after the recovery happens, is already like embracing McVay on the sidelines. Like, it was just a beautiful 5-second sequence that should be in the NFL Films archive in the Hall of Fame one day. What a way to end the game. Your thoughts just on that play and the fact that, Nate Landman, who's kind of become a captain, a heartbeat of this defense, really solidified why that he earned that respect in camp and showed that in this last play.
Yeah, we were really hard on him heading into the game, and he proved me at the very least wrong. And he Landman showed so much good stuff. 6 stops per PFF. He dropped in the coverage 32 of his 62 snaps. He got a 90.8 grade on that. They're saying no missed tackles on here. I definitely counted one, at least, but not the end of the world on that. Seven total across the rest of the defense. So that's still a problem, but my mea culpa to Landman. I just got to see him do it a couple more games in a row, and I'll be bought in on the guy if he can do it consistently. But what a game, big winner on all accounts.
Yeah, and Braden Fiske, like I mentioned, with the recovery, that was just a savage recovery. So awesome to see.
Yeah, 100%.
It never happens, right? Like the ball's always bouncing around. You have like one guy try to scoop it up and he misses. Another guy jumps on it and there's a pile. And he just freaking mauled that thing with one arm, scooped it in, stood up, and the game was over. And everyone's elated. I mean, what a way to end the game. So this defense, man, I think there's a lot to be excited about the defense. We maybe sounded a little down on the offense just because, this a Sean McVay-led team, you expect the offense to be really good. And I get Houston's defense is a good unit for sure. You got to give them credit, but there was just a lot of, I think, mistakes on the offense, which I think, hopefully we'll see it improve and see better. But this defense, we talked about in the offseason, Chris Shula is going to start getting head coaching looks, like for sure. And this game just solidified that even more, that he's got to be one of the top coordinators rising in terms of getting defensive look or head coaching looks. And yet he's a guy still around the league I haven't heard anyone talk about. Like a lot of people talk about Jesse Minter with the Chargers, and you have always going to get Baltimore Ravens coordinators are going to talk about, or at least defensively. You're going to get, Joe Brady with the Buffalo Bills gets brought up all the time as the offensive mind, and go down the list. Chris Shula still rarely I shouldn't say still, it's only been 1 year and one game, but does not get mentioned. And so Skinny, I'm going to say it every week, like what he's done with this defense. And you look at this unit that I don't have it in front of me, but it's got to be one of the youngest defenses in all of football. It has to be. When you look at the defense, the defensive line, no one's older than a second-year player. Puna Ford, I guess, would be. But, when you look at the likes of Turner, Fiske, Young, and Verse, all second-year players, or I guess third year now, Turner. You look at the secondary, like I mentioned, not a single, star. Killer Witherspoon, we're giving him his flowers. Obviously, the safety position has improved, but there's no true Pro Bowl star. And you've got two undrafted free agents as linebackers. And this is a unit that gave up 9 points and absolutely dominated the Houston Texans and ended the game on a Louvre-worthy turnover portrait. Chris Shula is the biggest winner of this game. Give that guy his flowers.
I love it. Yeah. The one thing I'll point out, run defense, not giving up a bunch of explosive plays, but that last drive, they kept running it down their throats. Obviously, the defense wasn't, they're trying to prevent big passing chunk plays in that time frame. But you got to stop Nick Chubb, and that knockout that Landman had. That was a pretty explosive run play right there.
Yeah.
So not going to call him a loser, but let's shore that up. My last loser is some of the rookies. We don't have to talk about it. Nobody playing. No Jake Ferguson. No Jarquez Hunter. Josiah Stewart in there for 15 snaps, so not bad there. But this draft class is not having any impact so far. I don't have anything else to say about that, but
Yeah, to me,
Tyler Warren had a heck of a game.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say. That's all.
Colson Loveland played a lot of snaps.
He didn't have any catches though.
No, yeah, you're right. He was in there a lot, but
yeah.
I think I'll say Ferguson. I think we expected to be a slow build, not based on what they said after the draft, but based on how the summer went and being injured and just what we saw in training camp. He was just behind. So, it'll be interesting to see how that ramps up. But it's never great when your staff says we would have taken this guy in the first round had we not got the package offered to us to trade back, and then doesn't play a snap in your first game. And Davis Allen, a former 5th rounder, plays 27 snaps or something like that.
Heck of a game.
So, and Colby Parkinson and obviously Tyler Higbee. So we'll see what that ramp up to me, that it's still, and I don't want to end on a negative, but I'm just scratching my head why Jarquez Hunter was a healthy scratch. And the guy they scratched him for, Cody Schrader, they didn't protect, and now he's on Jacksonville. Like, that situation is a little bit mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, and Tyler Higbee's involvement in the offense as well. Like, no catches. Like, I think we picked him to pick up 25 yards.
That was probably one of them, yeah. It's like, he's a starting tight end, like, 3 catches.
Yeah, I don't think he's the start. I mean, he played the most snaps of all the tight ends, but I don't know if he's a starter anymore in this world, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what the offense looks like next week. Yeah, great win, Chris Shula. Let's end with the positives. Chris Shula, a hell of a game, calling the defense. So we'll give flowers there, because when he was hired after Raheem Morris left, and everyone was like, "Really, Sean McVay, you have all these options, and this is who you're gonna promote?" Home run hire so far. I mean, what he did last year, and obviously one game into this year, hats off.
I did see our guy over at SI, Rams on SI, Brock Vieira, covering the team for SI now. He's saying maybe a Miami vacancy is where Chris Shula is going to end up.
Really? Any reason to that, or just because?
Well, Miami crapped the bed against the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
The Shula connection makes sense.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, unless they change a lot, I don't know how Mike McDaniel's going to survive after this year.
Hey, my guy Danny Dimes. Better stats than Joe Burrow.
I know. I mean, well, this is beside our points win with this, but it just shows in this league how every position, every player, but quarterback the most specifically, like, your situation is so important, and who your coach is, and the offensive scheme, and the players around you. Like, there are a few quarterbacks who it doesn't matter their situation, they're going to be great. But for the most part, yeah, there you go. For the most part, it matters a ton, and it's one game. So this is probably an overreaction for sure.
100%.
But Indiana Jones is showing that with an offensive mind, like who they have in Indianapolis, with some of those weapons like Michael Pittman in a running game, and an offensive line like Indianapolis has, that, things can be good. Now we'll see if it continues throughout the season. He maybe look like dog water like he did in New York next week. Maybe Miami's just that bad. But I think there's enough proof out there when you go down the line of Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, all these guys, that Baker Mayfield, that, like, your situation matters a lot, because when these guys come into the league, they're all talented. I mean, quarterbacks going in the first round aren't just bums. Like, yeah, some are better than others, but they don't just like all of a sudden forget how to throw a football. A lot matters in your situation. So anyway, I digress. Great win. Rams are 1-0, 14-9 over the Texans. We will be back mañana. Hopefully we're going to have a guest, maybe potentially tomorrow or Thursday. Tennessee Titans guest we'll have on to help preview the game. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be live on Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. Come hang out with us. Bring your comments, thoughts, concerns, calls. We'll have people jump in here. We'll drop the link that anyone that wants to. So thank you, as always, for hanging out. For Skinny T, I'm Ryan Dyrud. We'll talk to everyone here tomorrow.